Has my camera been crooked this entire time? Hello, my bookish friends. Welcome back. I'm Elizabeth, and this is Reading Riley, where we like to read Riley, not take ourselves too seriously, and have some fun with books. And today we're doing a wrap up for the month of August.
1, 2, 3, fuck it.
Sorry. I planned on doing this vlog style wrap up where I just record my thoughts about each book after I read each and every one. And in theory, this idea it's great, it's brilliant, but in execution, not so much. I had a really hard time just stopping everything I was doing to sit down and record, not to mention, you know, if I haven't gotten dressed that day or the lighting's bad or what have you. I would have to sacrifice other things, and I may still try it, but for now, I'm just gonna give you the last 7 books that I've read that I haven't talked to you about. The first one is The Burning Girls by CJ Tudor. I actually did a full separate review about this one, so I will link it up top if you're interested in that. I'll just give you a really brief synopsis. I absolutely loved it. 5 stars. I think I originally gave it 4 stars, but as I sat with it and as I thought about it, as I was going through the details of it to write that review, I couldn't think of any problems with it. I loved it. So I gave it a 5 star. It's about this female vicar and her daughter that gets sent to a new parish in a new town with some very interesting and disturbing history. They get into trouble. It's a mixture of thriller, mystery, and horror. And I actually finished Burning Girls on the very last day of July, but I didn't put it in my last wrap up, so I added it here. I will leave it at that. And then I did a thriller vlog, in which I read the next 3 books that I'm going to talk about, and the first of which is Karin Slaughter's False Witness. I really enjoyed this. I love Karin Slaughter. Her ability to make the characters real is amazing. I think she writes characters exceptionally well. I found a lot of similarities in this that I had noticed from Pretty Girls as well, as far as the way she develops the story, not the narrative of the story itself, but this dynamic of these 2 sisters, and then we also have this relationship and kind of this personality trait, I guess, which I really love, of that fall on your sword type character, where she is in love with this great man, but she feels so guilty about the things that have happened in her past that she won't allow herself to, she can't give all of her heart to him. Anyway, it's about this woman and her sister, and in the past they had some terrible trauma happen to them. They have moved on. Our main character, Lee, she is a defense attorney. Her sister, is it Callie? Callie. Her sister Callie took a different path and ended up addicted to drugs. Somebody comes back from their past and hires Lee to be their attorney. That person is a rapist and tries to blackmail her to do really low and schemy things to get him off the hook. So much social commentary. We talk about COVID. There's a lot of COVID talk, so be warned there if that's not something you're interested in, but I loved it. I didn't feel like it took away from the story. And we also talk about race and police and the Me Too movement, feminism, and just all kinds of stuff that I find very gratifying to read about in my fiction. I think I gave this 4 or 4.5. The next book I read in this vlog is Not a Happy Family by Sheri Lapena. This is her newest book as well. This is about a family in upstate New York. The parents are brutally murdered the night after Easter. They have 3 children who all hate their dad and who want the house or the money or something that their parents have, and are all equally motivated to have murdered them. It's a mystery. I thought this was a thriller. I wish I hadn't, because it is definitely slower paced. I didn't especially like this. I think I gave it 2.5 or 3 stars. As a mystery, it was nothing new. It was nothing shocking. The reveal of the murder felt anticlimactic. I just didn't love it. I didn't love it. Kind of disappointing after The Couple Next Door, which I really loved by her. That is that one. Third book was For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing. Another one that I was really anticipating and excited for, and absolutely loved her first book, My Lovely Wife. I was anticipating going into this expecting something extreme, boundary pushing, dark. It wasn't all of that. It was a fun, fine read. In this story, we're following Teddy Kutcher, who is an English teacher at this elite academy for rich kids, and he wants what's best for them. What, buddy? He wants whatever's for their good, for their own good. All right, go on. He goes a little bit too far to do what's for their own good. He grades them based on not just their work, but also their personalities. He cannot stand entitled kids, and he's going to teach them a lesson. I thought this book was just fine. Like, it was okay. I didn't dislike it. I enjoyed the writing style. I enjoyed my reading experience for the most part. But because we're reading it from the perspective of this guy, Teddy Critcher, there's no mystery. It's the opposite of Not a Happy Family, because you know everything that's happened, you know what's happening, you know who's doing the thing, and there's no twist. I was enjoying it most of the way, and I was just waiting for like something to wow me, and it just didn't happen. So I think I gave it 3.5 stars. Really excited to talk about this next one. The next thing I read was Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric Larocca. This book is exceptionally shiny. Okay, so this book, it's just a little tiny guy. A horror book. I found it really interesting. I gave it 5 stars. I think it's set in the year 2000, but if not early 2000s. These two women meet on this website where one of them is trying to sell an apple peeler, or I think it's apple peeler, it's vintage. And she has this whole story about how it was her grandmother's and how it, is so important to her childhood. But she's broke and she has to pay rent, so she's got to sell this thing. But she wants it to go to a good home. She meets this other woman who connects with it as well. And they start talking over chat rooms and developing this relationship. Then you get chat room chit chat as well as emails. Like, it's so short. What is this? Just over 100 pages. There are some bits in here that are body horror, and some bits of this are more like psychological horror. So there's just a little section of that body horror, but that little section that was there, I would compare to The Troop by Nick Cutter. Like that kind, if you've read that kind of disgusting body horror. The psychological aspect is interesting too, because it's just about human frailty, human relationships, manipulation, things like that. So highly recommend this. It's so short. It's so quick to read. I say go for it. And that is that book. The next book I read is The Black Witch by Laurie Forrest. Okay, this is a young adult fantasy, y'all. I'm back. She's back. I saw a TikTok or something recommending this, saying if you like ACOTAR, if you like Court of Thorns and Roses, or Throne of Glass, or Sarah J. Maas in general, then read this book. So I was like, okay, I'll try it. I got it from my library for free and listened to the audiobook. I think there's like 5 books in this series. So now I'm like, what the hell did I get myself into? Like, I have just given myself a lot of pressure, but I really liked it, you guys. I liked it. Was this comparable to ACOTAR? I can absolutely see the comparison that's been drawn there, although this book is YA, whereas ACOTAR is YA. You know what I'm saying? But this does have a diverse cast of really lovable characters, a found family type aspect to it. I think this book was a lot of setup, so I'll give it that. There wasn't a whole lot that happened, but the little things that did definitely kept my interest. There was a lot of that kind of high school checking out boys, like, oh, that guy's so hot. Oh, he looked at me like that and it made me steamy. But there's no actual steam in this book. They're in university, so apparently they're college age. There's actually a lot of political stuff about this too, and talk about race. Even though we're not talking about like the color of their skin, we're talking about their actual species, but there's a lot of that. Ellerin has been really sheltered. Her grandmother was the Black Witch, which she was super powerful, and she's very pious and naive. Ellerin is. She grows up with her uncle out in the woods with her uncle and her brothers. When she goes off to university, and the university part gives me very much like Harry Potter vibes, because they're like learning their magic and they have levels of mages and all of that. Her eyes are opened wide to the world and the things that are happening, and how maybe her beliefs are not right. Maybe her beliefs are a manipulation of her kind in order to keep her kind in power. She starts to see her own prejudices from a different point of view, and then starts gathering this group of friends. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was really good. I think I gave it 4 stars. Excellent. I'm definitely going to continue on in the series. I'm glad I picked up a fantasy after it's been so long, because it definitely hit a spot for me. It kind of like gave me that like, felt like eating ice cream, soda shops, milkshakes, and good things. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. Next, I started another vlog, which I'm actually in the process of filming right now. The first book I read for that was A Dark and Secret Place by Jen Williams. What is her name? Jen Williams, yeah. Huh. Is that the girl from Dawson's Creek? Absolutely hated this book. I gave it 1 star. I'm still kind of angry. I'm still kind of angry that I wasted my time on this book. We're following this woman, Heather, and she finds out her mother has died by suicide. She goes back to her mother's house, get the funeral in order, collect all the things, and she finds these letters where her mother has been in correspondence with a serial killer called the Red Wolf for the last however many so-odd years from prison. And she has to unravel the mystery of why her mother was talking to this guy. She also finds in her mother's suicide note that she's written to the both of you, and she doesn't understand why because she's an only child. Her dad passed away a long time ago. Like, what's going on? She tries to uncover this, gets herself into more trouble, and you know, shit hits the fan. I started to lose interest about like the 30% mark, and I didn't know this author, and so I felt like I should keep pushing through in hopes that it would be one of those things that like where all of these things came together and eventually made sense, but they did not. It was exceptionally meandering. There was nothing that brought everything together. It just felt really random. The twist felt like a cop-out, nothing to do with the rest of the story. There was 2 points of views, the second of which I was really not interested at all in, ended up being pretty much meaningless and added nothing to the story for me. I could go on, but I'm not going to. It's 1 star. That's all I have at this very moment. And then for the rest of this video, I mean, it's August 25th, so I probably won't be reading too many more books in the next 5 days, but I'll try to tell you about them as I read them. Till then, I'm back. It's August 30th today. It is the end of the month, but we have 1 more day. I have completed 2 books since I last spoke with you, and the first of which is Nightbitch by Rachel Yoder. If you watched my vlog that I released, you know that I loved this book. Oh my god, I loved it so much. I don't have anything to say really that I didn't say in that vlog. I'll put it up here for you. This is about a woman who is a mother. She was an artist, and then she became a mother, and she started to fall away from that side of her. She stayed at home with her son, the boy. In the first part of this book, she is referred to as the mother. The son is referred to as the boy. It's a very detached writing style because we are showing how she is losing herself in motherhood. She's not coping well with motherhood, and her husband doesn't quite understand her. And then she starts to realize a tuft of hair on the back of her neck. She starts to feel like her canines are getting a little bit longer. She starts to grow a tail, okay? And she thinks that she's turning into a dog. And it becomes this really interesting look at femininity from a feral perspective about this woman and what she's going through. When we start part 2, she's now Nightbitch. She is no longer the mother, she is Nightbitch, and she is taking over, and she is giving in to all of her feral base instincts and needs, and she connects back with her art. And I won't tell you any more about the plot. It's an exploration of the brutality of motherhood and also the beauty that comes with that. It's gorgeously written. It's short. It looks like, you know, a decent sized book, but this is less than 250 pages. It's also going to be a movie starring Amy Adams. So I highly recommend you pick this up before that comes out, which I have no idea when that will be. If you are a mother, especially if you are, you know, in your 30s or up, but I think anyone can relate to this if you just want to explore femininity and the social constructs that are put on people by the patriarchy and societal norms that we deal with every day. That's all I'm going to say about this. 5 stars, amazing, highly recommend. The next book I read is All's Well by Mona Awad. This was my first Mona Awad. I wanted to read this because Kayla over at Books and Lala, it's one of her book club books, and there's also a very heavy Shakespeare theme within this, which I like. So I picked it up. It was really weird in an awesome way. We're following this theater director, Miranda, I think was her name. She lives with chronic pain, and from the start of this book, we just delve into her pain and what she's going through and how she used to be an actor, but she had an accident and all of that was stolen away from her, and now she's forced to watch these prissy kids basically take her spot and teach them. She's in so much pain she can't connect with anyone. She just is so, again, detached from what's happening in her life. She is confronted by these strange men who offer her a solution for her pain. She ends up having a miraculous recovery, but it comes at a cost. So that's all I'll say about it. It was very strangely written. You're very much in her head. You're seeing it through her cynical perspective, which I thought at times was also really funny. Her as a character, I absolutely loved. It was definitely weird, but I liked this type of weird. So whatever it was, I enjoyed it. The end definitely went off on a tangent, but it was fun for me. I recommend it. I've never read All's Well That Ends Well, so there could be more Easter eggs within that I didn't catch, but you certainly don't have to have read All's Well That Ends Well or be at all familiar with Shakespeare in order to appreciate this. So just put that out there for you. Sorry, my lighting's being really weird. And it made me want to pick up Bunny. So I really now, after all the hype that Bunny got and how people said it was so weird, I kind of was straying away from that because of those reviews. But now that I know that I like her writing style and this kind of weird, I am very interested to actually read Bunny. That's all I've read so far for this month. There are still 2 days left of this month, today and tomorrow, and I've just started. I'll tell you what I'm currently reading. My pizza's ready. So let's make this quick. Picked up this book that I'm currently reading based on a suggestion from Beth is Booked. Oh God, is that her? Beth's All Booked. I just discovered this booktuber, also bookstagrammer, etc. She and I have very similar reading tastes, and she said if you like Karin Slaughter, then you should pick up this author. It is J.D. Barker, who I'd never heard of before, and I just picked up A Caller's Game by him. And I got it on Scribd, so I'm listening on audio, and it's about this XM radio host named Jordan. She hosts this live radio show in New York City, set in New York, and she gets a call from this guy who says he wants to play a game. And basically, it's up to her whether a whole bunch of people survive or die or not. So far, I'm basically I don't know, 15% into this book. It's very high action. I'm actually really enjoying it. So I'll let you guys know when I finish this whether or not I would agree about the Karin Slaughter comparison. But for me, off the bat, I'm getting a closer connection or comparison to The Passengers by John Marrs type of novel, because it is so fast-paced and not as character-driven as I typically find in Karin Slaughter books, but still at the beginning, so I'll let y'all know. Okay, gonna go eat pizza. Those were all the books I read in August. Obviously, this whole idea of vlogging as I go didn't quite work out as I thought it was going to. I'm not sure it's something I'm gonna continue to do. If you're still with me, thank you for watching. I appreciate you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Don't forget that life is short, so read Riley. Goodbye.